decrease in fertility rates and a horrifyingly large increase, 58%, in fetal death rates in Flint during the water switch. As Claire McClinton, co-founder of the Flint Democracy Defense League, observed, "Our nightmare began with the poisoning of the people in Flint. This was possible," she continued, "only when the emergency manager signed the order to go to the Flint River. So what the state of Michigan has done is to dismantle democracy." McClinton described how the city was forced to change its water supply to appease bondholders and other investors. "The type of people that are running our state, over our health and our well-being, are crooks and criminals," McClinton professed, "and we've got to evidence and expose these criminal activities." McClinton and Lewis Patrick are not alone in recognizing how racism and anti-blackness work through diverse environmental conditions, including austerity, debt, and the seizure of local government. This pattern of racialized harm suggests that lead poisoning and water shutoffs are not simply the manifestations of poor decisions or elected officials' dereliction of duty, but the result of the mundane and taken-for-granted workings of austerity policies that use colorblind administrative mechanisms, such as the state's emergency manager law, to strip away black assets and democratic autonomy for the benefit of white political and economic elites. The neoliberal playbook has been rewritten to spread beyond the tyranny of tight budgets toward a profound restructuring of the institutions of urban governance. Toxic Water, Toxic System builds on an already voluminous literature on what has been called the Flint-Detroit water crisis to offer a holistic framework that extends far beyond the realm of water to reveal how specific methods and foundations of white supremacy erode the public infrastructure of these predominantly black cities, including housing, education, collective bargaining, and black political power more broadly. This social regime is akin to what Boaventura de Sousa Santos has described as financial fascism, whereby the power of financial markets and recklessness of casino capitalism have led to particularly severe forms of exclusion. In this book, I pay particular attention to the role of racialization in this prevailing social regime. Racialization provided the political hegemony, the grease, that allowed white elites to justify the rhetoric of municipal financial ruin in majority black cities in Michigan. Without racialization, policies of emergency management, health care and pension reform, and amendments to constitutional revenue sharing would not have occurred because they could not have been justified by economic principles alone. For austerity to get done in places like Flint and Detroit, a pluralism of white elites has developed elaborate explanations as to why the urban poor got what they deserved. Racialization has been used strategically not only to feed on suburban white insecurities, but also to mobilize white censures against black leadership. Racialization was also employed to conjure the irrationality of black pathology, which served to push a neoconservative agenda deeper into liberal institutions, interweaving policies regarding housing, employment, education, and urban development more generally into the very fabric of urban renewal in Michigan. In the analysis that follows, I describe how particular groups of people worked collectively to craft a set of state policies to realize what is arguably one of the most extreme examples of environmental racism in this country. And while we focus on the harmful effects of water precarity, we must remember that these cruel inequities are the result of years of careful planning and forethought, underscoring Michigan's deep class interests and ongoing commitment to racial inequality. It is this pluralist strategy and formation that makes this form of financial fascism so vicious. This strategy began with federally subsidized racial projects of redlining, suburbanization, and white flight, which concentrated people of color in urban environs. The resulting metropolitan segregation that occurred in cities like Detroit and Flint was then rationalized as a threat to white suburban interests, justifying new forms of state-sanctioned racism under the guise of fiscally responsible governance. This new phase